Okay, now that we're connected to Facebook and to Torah Direct, it's important that I say this. Okay, good morning again. I'm sorry to those, to Torah Direct and to Facebook. It's important that we mention today is the yahrzeit of Teddy Kellen. Today is the yahrzeit of Teddy Kellen. Teddy Kellen is the children sponsored Torah Direct in his memory. TorahDirect.com. TorahDirect.com is sponsored in his memory. I'm trying to find TorahDirect.com. I'll share it with you. Second. TorahDirect.com is in his memory. I want to share this so that everybody can see what I'm talking about. This is important. This is important. This is important. I'm sorry, guys. Very important. So I'm going to share with everybody this. So this is Teddy Kellen, Shimon Tuvia ben Dov Yehuda Leib. Shimon Tuvia ben Dov Yehuda Leib. This is today, the 10th of Tammuz, is his yahrzeit. Teddy Kellen, memory of Teddy Kellen. Shimon Tuvia ben Dov Yehuda Leib. He was this very special yid. He was an educator. He was a lover of Yisrael, a lover of learning Torah, and his children sponsored this whole website. We all know Fiona Foreman is his daughter, Fiona, and he has a son in Toronto, Kellen, and he has a son actually in Florida also. His 3 children and his grandchildren sponsored TorahDirect.com. So all the learning that we have on TorahDirect.com is in honor of this wonderful neshama, Shimon Tuvia ben Dov Yehuda Leib Chaim, whose yahrzeit is today. And we want to wish that his neshama should have an aliyah, and the neshama should go from heights to heights, and he should be an ambassador of goodness and kindness for his entire beautiful family, his children and his grandchildren, and his great-grandchildren, and they should only have simchas and nachas in their family and love and happiness in their family. So Teddy, God bless you. David should give you the Neshama and Aliyah. I hope you're looking down on us. I hope you're enjoying all the learning that's happening in your memory. And may God give you the Neshama and Aliyah and be an ambassador of goodness and kindness to your family and to all those that learn Torah in your memory. And now let's go back. Okay. Now that we got that information done, we can go back to the Tanya and let's see this. Okay. So the Rebbe continues. So we have the Shema, you have the names of God. We know that the two in the diagram of the emotions, Chesed and Gevurah, are the most important two attributes. The most two important attributes in the emotional attributes, right? Chesed and Gevurah, right? You're with me over here, those are sitting here. Kindness and severity. And they are connected to the two names of God. Yud Kei Vav Kei, the tetragram of God's name, which is Chesed, and Elikim, which is Gevurah, which is severity. Remember, in the beginning of this Shari Yichav Emunah, the Alter Rebbe brings down the verse, Kishemesh U'Mogen Hashem Elikim, that just like the sun and its sheep, the name of those are the two names of God. I mean, the first name of God, Yud Kei Vav Kei, is the sun, symbolic, so to say, the analogy of the sun, and Elikim is the analogy of the sheep, the covering of the sun. So the covering of the sun gives the capability for the world to be able to handle the sun. So that's how Chassidus explains in general. Gevurah is not for the sake of Gevura itself. Gevura itself is not there for the sake of Gevura. It's there actually for Chesed. Everything is there for Chesed. When a father, a parent rebukes his child or withholds a child from certain things, it's not because he hates the child. It's because he loves the child. He loves the child. So that Gevura, which is holding back for the child certain things, not giving him what he wants, is Gevura. Is the severity. It's holding back. It's the opposite of Chesed, which is to give. I'm not giving. But the concept of this not giving is not for the not giving. I want to show that I have power. I'm not going to give. No, the concept of the not giving is to give. Because the child, to be able to receive and to be able to handle whatever it receives, it needs to be not given totally everything. Because if you give him everything, the child would not be able to handle. Right? Correct? So that's why you're holding chapter number 6. The name Elikim is the name of the second name of God. Elikim, yeah, you with me? Is the attribute of Gevura, strength, Tzimtzum, and contractions. Tzimtzum is contraction. Each God's name denotes a particular divine attribute. The name pronounced Kel, for example, indicates the attribute of Chesed. As the verse says, the kindness Kel endures throughout the day. Likewise, the name that indicates the attribute of Gevura and Tzimtzum is Elikim. When the light of the Ein Sof brought itself in the attribute of Gevura, to bring about its own Tzimtzum concealment is known as the name Elikim. That's why, see, this says Teva. You take the word Teva. Teva has 3 letters. HaTeva. HaTeva has 4 letters. And these 4 letters, hey, you see those 4 letters in front of you? Those 4 letters, people. Yeah? Nature, the Hebrew word for nature, HaTeva, equals up to 86. 86. HaTeva equal the nature equals up to 86. If you take the word Elikim, that name of God also equals up to 86. Nature. That means God within nature. The truth is, Chassidus explains that nature itself is, when you say something, that's its nature. That's its nature. Yesterday, God got angry at Moses that he didn't speak to the stone. He hit the stone. So what's so terrible? What's so terrible? Hitting a stone. You're not like he hit a person. He hit a stone. What's so terrible about hitting a stone? What's the end of the world about hitting a stone? So there's a Rashi. Rashi yesterday in Chumash, Rashi says why the meaning of God's frustration. Why was God so frustrated that he hit a stone? So he asked me to speak to the stone. I spoke to the stone. The stone didn't respond. So I hit the stone. What's so terrible about it? The stone, I hit a stone. I didn't hit a human being. So Rashi says, what's so terrible about it? And Rashi, look at Rashi. Rashi says as follows. So she'ilu debaitem alaser Rashi, because if you would have spoken to the stone, and the stone would have come out water, if you would have had patience, and you would have waited and spoke again to the stone, and the stone would have come out water, you would have sanctified me to the people. Why? Because the people would say, thus like this stone. If a stone doesn't speak, doesn't hear, the stone doesn't speak, doesn't hear, doesn't need to have a livelihood. It's a stone. Mekayim dvura shamakim does the will of God if a stone that doesn't hear, that doesn't speak, that doesn't need to have any kind of livelihood, listens to God, kal v'chaymer anu, so surely us, humans that hear, speak, need a parnasa, need God, surely we should listen. You know what a kal v'chaymer is? It's one of the 13, you say it every day in your davening. It's one of the 13 principles, the way the Torah is expounded upon. The kal v'chaymer, from the easy to hard. If it's so in such a case, it's surely so in such a case. If you say the law is by A like this, so surely by B. That's a kal v'chaymer.
So which one of the 13 actually?
No, 13 principles, the way the Torah is expounded upon. On page 26. No. Every day in your davening on page 26. You say, Rabbi Shmuel Omer, Rabbi Shmuel said, there are 13 ways the Torah is expounded upon. About on page, this is the first 25. The regular. For the kal v'chayim means if you say the case is by A, for surely the case is by B. If you say a simpleton needs to do something, for surely a sage needs to do something. That's the kal v'chayim. That's the concept of kal. If you say it by A, that is easier. That's a kal. Kal means easier. If you say the law is by an easier case as follows, but surely by a hard case, it's surely as follows. So, does that make sense in this kal v'chaymer? If you say a rock follows God, surely a human being follows God. You're comparing a rock to a human being? How you compare what's the kal v'chaymer? A rock is a rock. What is the kal v'chaymer? A rock is a rock. A human being is no rock. So how do you compare the two together? If a rock listens to God, so surely a human being should listen to God. There's no comparison. There's no comparison between a rock and a human being. That's like saying, coming back and saying, if your computer listens to you, your children should listen to you. Your children are not a computer. So your computer listens to you because that's the way it is. Whatever you click in, that's what it does. But how is that a kal v'chaymer? That's not a kal v'chaymer. So what is the meaning of Rashi? What is the meaning of God? God says, if a rock listens to me, surely you. How are you comparing a rock to a human being? So the answer is, a good question. You got the question. Moshe, you got the question or you're sleeping?
I got it.
So the answer is, because the Eibishter wanted to tell, he wanted to teach Yam Yisrael with the giving of water from a rock. How can a rock give water? That's not the nature of a rock to give water. Rocks don't give water. You can ask any child, rocks don't give water. Water don't come from rocks. How can the rock give water? Rock doesn't give water. Why doesn't the rock give water? Because that's not its nature. That's not the nature of a rock to give water. It's not because of any kind of the rock is going. If that's the nature, the rock doesn't give water. That's the nature of a rock. But what is the lesson? The Eibishter wants. So who made the nature of the rock not to give water? Why does a rock doesn't give water? And I don't know, water comes from the sky or it comes from the ocean. Why? Why is the rock don't give water? Why can't the rock give water? That's its nature. Why is its nature? Because that's the way the Eibishter created it. That's the way God created the rock. But if the Eibishter wants a rock to give water, just like God, who created the nature rock not to give water, can create the nature not to give water.
Wow.
Right? The Abishta created nature. So nature is also a miracle. People think that nature is not a miracle. Nature is dust. Who made nature to be nature? That water flows and rocks stand and earth gives trees and animals do certain things that animals eat other animals. That's its nature. Who made that nature? The Abishta made that nature. It's not something. So the Abishta made that nature. If we can look at a rock and we could say a rock that its nature is not to give out water. Why? Not because its nature is not to give out water, because that's the way God made its nature. If God says to speak to the rock, and if you're going to speak to it, give out water, because I'm going to change its nature, so for surely us, for surely a human being also has a nature. What's our nature? Who created our nature? The Abishta created a rock in his nature. Then he created a human being his nature. What is the human being actual, natural disposition? What's a human being natural concept? What's his natural? What would be his natural aspect? Oh, his neshama. You can say that's a concept of free will. But what's his natural? His neshama. That's if you want to go to the core of the way his nature is. What's his nature? His nature is to do good. His nature is to be godly. Because that's the way the Abishta created him. So the Abishta says you should have learned from the rock. Halavai, we could have learned from the rock. I wanted that you should learn from the rock. That just like I created the rock in its natural way, not because the rock decided to be a rock. I created the nature of a rock. I created the nature of a Jew. We should have learned from a rock. We should all learn. The Gemara says we should have learned from animals. We should have learned from animals. We should learn from nature. What should we learn from nature? Not that the beauty of nature. We should learn from nature that everything that we see is a miracle of the Abishta. Everything that we see comes from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And that's really the beauty of nature. And Shem Elokim, even nature comes from the name of God. And ultimately, God's name that's above nature and God's name and nature are echad, are one entity because they're both godly. So really, we need to come to the both same conclusion. Whether something we say that's its nature, or whether things we think that we comprehend, like we're great chachamim, great sages, and we know exactly how everything works, they both come from the same source. They both come from the same entity, same concept. But one is in seemingly in a natural form, but it's really supernatural, and one is in a supernatural form. We have to be able to unite the two entities to realize that everything is supernatural, and to God, everything is natural. You got that line I gave you just now? That's the expression of Dr. David. The Abishta took Ruchnius and made it Gashmis. The Abishta God took spirituality and made it physicality. And we have to take physicality and make it spirituality. We have to go back the other way. So the Abishta, the upper world and the older world are all creation. They're all creation. They're all the same thing. There's no difference in God of spirituality and physicality. They're all a concept of creation. So to him, there's no difference between the upper world and the lower world. There's no difference between something super spiritual, supernatural, and something that's very simple. They're all the same. But to us, it's the other way. We have to go the other way. We have to connect everything that is simple, that is seemingly pashut nature, and connect it to the supernatural. Yeah.
Can I say something? It makes me think I'm in awe and amazed at what you're saying, because all of Hashem's creation and everything, there's no two leaves, no two trees, no two stones, no two people. Nobody is the same. Everybody's unique. Just like every snowflake is.
Correct. It is that, and that's supernatural. That's supernatural. Yeah.
So we have to make everything one.
Right. We have to bring everything back to its oneness. That's all it is. We have to make a plural into one. Unite, the Rebbe would say, this is the United States of America, united, to unite everything. That's what everyone said on the dollar bill. It's written for the plural, umupumas, whatever, whatever, which means from a plural bring to, no, from a plural to a singular. Yeah, that was it. And then you see that's the concept. And that is the aspect. The concept is to unite things. We come in the world to unite things. Because why? Because the truth is that's its nature. Its nature is unity. You're not accomplishing something that's not there. Chassidus says you're accomplishing something that's there to begin with.
The previous Rebbe said, like, look at the human body. All these cells are separate, but they're all working together.
Correct.
To make a human function.
Right. Correct. So it's an illusion. So the plurality is an illusion. We think the unity is an illusion. But really, in truth, that things look like separate is an illusion. That is Gevurah. Gevurah, the strength of God creates the illusion that things are separate. That things are bigger and smaller. Things are higher and lower. That is Gevurah. Gevurah Shebechesed gives that capability. And it's a positive thing in that. Because if there was no higher or lower, then you'll only be able to grasp on godliness at a certain level. So everybody would have to be at a certain level to be able to connect to godliness. When there's Gevurah, when there's a concept of a contraction of hiddenness, then everybody can connect on their level. Everybody, because there's so much levels, seemingly, now everybody can connect on their level. But the truth is, when a Jew connects on any level, he's connecting to the essence of he's connecting to the oneness of the thing. He's connected to the essence. So therefore, there's really no level.
That's an illusion too.
There's no level. It's all one. It's all unity. To God, it's all one. But the Eibishter wanted that we would be able we would not be able to handle that oneness. It would be too high for us to comprehend. As we see, we cannot comprehend God's oneness. It's a very difficult concept, even the concept itself. So be able to connect to God and to be able to become back united needs to be, every person needs to start on their level to bring that unity. To bring that unity, whether through thought, whether through action, whether through speech. Everybody to their capacity.
Can I go up on a slight?
No. Let's do it later. Some people, mothers, they can't hear you. So that's the beauty of Teva. That's why it says, the Mishnah in Pirkei Avos says that if somebody is learning Torah and he says how beautiful nature is, it's the opposite. How can you stop the learning of Torah if the Torah tells you the beauty of nature? You cannot see the beauty of nature within the nature, the physical thing. You can see the beauty, the true beauty of nature through the Torah. Because the Torah really tells you what is the beauty of nature. What is the beauty of nature? Is the Eibishter made a tree that gives fruit. Why? Why does this tree give fruit? That's the God who decided that that these beautiful fruits are going to come out of this beautiful mango tree. They're going to give this luscious, unbelievable fruit. Why? I don't know. That's what the Eibishter wanted. There's no rhyme or reason. That's its nature. So its nature alone shows on the greatness of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, on the greatness of the supernatural. And it comes through a beautiful tree. Through a beautiful tree that gives unbelievable delicious fruit. There we can see the unity of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. If we really think about it, if we really comprehend it. Yeah? We'll let you go in your transit soon. Okay, let's try to.
I'm listening.
Okay. And it appears as though the world exists. That's the illusion. The illusion is it appears that the world exists, but according to the laws of that, independent of any supernatural influence. This bullshit, there's a guy planted this tree and he fertilized it and mangoes came out. Nothing happens. That this tree is a mango tree and it came from another mango tree, that came from another mango tree, that came from the first mango tree in existence. And that's why this teva is important. It's important in our life. Teva, nature, is an important thing in our life. We enjoy nature, and we should enjoy nature. That's what the Gemara says. That when a neshama comes to Mila, the first question they ask, did you enjoy the world? Did you enjoy the world? On all its levels. Did you enjoy the world in a physical way? Did you enjoy the world in a spiritual way? Did you see the godliness in the world? That's what the Baal Shem Tov wanted. The Baal Shem Tov wanted our Jews should be able to see not godliness not only godliness in the Torah. Yeah, that's easy. That's easy to see godliness in the Torah. Because if you wisdom, if you understand the wisdom of the Torah, it's beyond nobody will come up with these laws. These are godly laws. I put on tefillin today because God asked me to put on tefillin. I would never come up with it on my own. Right? But that I'm gonna go and enjoy whatever in my day-to-day life. What does that do with God? It's creation. It's God's creation. Why do I need to connect God to going and seeing the beauty of the world? That is nature. But that's where the obligation of a Jew is to make that unity in God. Is to be able to bring that unity, to realize. And again, according to the Rambam, we still started Rambam again. We're learning of the Rambam. Rambam says the same thing in many different ways. But it's all the same concept. To be able to see that everything, as expression in Pirkei Avos, is Kol ma shebara HaKadosh Baruch Hu be'olam lebara el l'chmayde. Anything that God created in the world was created for God's glory. Everything in the world is created. Everything, there's nothing in nature that was not created for God's glory. So that was actually going back to Moshe Rabbeinu. Moshe Rabbeinu should have showed that a stone was also created for God's glory. The stone that doesn't give water, when you ask the stone in the name of God to give water, it's going to give water. Because just like the nature of stone, the famous story in the Gemara tells a story that went through the sage, his name was Abhuna, I believe. And he told his young daughter to go buy Erev Shabbos. He said, we have no candles. Go run out to the store, it's Erev Shabbos, go buy candles. Those days, the candles was oil. That's how they lit the candles. Some people still light the Shabbos candles with oil. So the girl ran, she bought the candles, the oil, and when she came home, when they were ready to light the candles, she realized she bought the wrong thing. She bought vinegar instead of oil. So she started to cry. She realized she couldn't go out and buy anymore. The stores, all stores, everything was closed. And how is she now going to light how is her mother and her going to light the Friday night candles with vinegar? She started to cry. So the sage saw her daughter's crying. He said to her, why are you crying? She said, can't believe it. I bought vinegar. So this is what he answered her. He said, the one who created the world and said that oil shall burn can be the one who says Vinegar should burn. What's the difference? Who says oil burns? Who decided oil should burn? Who decided that? The Abishah decided that. Hashem decided that. So if the Abishah decided the oil should burn, why can't God have vinegar burn? Pour in the vinegar and it'll burn. And that's what happened. They poured in the vinegar, and the Gemara said, the vinegar burned. And that's what happened. So, why? Because who decided? Who decided the oil should burn? You think, the Abish decided the oil should burn. And vinegar doesn't burn. I think God has anything against vinegar. The Abish decided the oil should burn. So now God decided. God can decide that vinegar should burn. The same thing happened in Baal Shem Tov. The story of Baal Shem Tov is told also. The one that was sitting and learning with the students, and the candle went out. They had no more candles. It's the middle of the winter. He said, "Go collect the icicles from that was dripping on the house. They used to drip on these icicles. So break off the icicles, bring it into the room, and light it. Right? And it worked. Don't try it at home. I don't play. You won't find icicles. Okay. So Hashem said the Abishah can make a candle to burn. What? That's the Abishah. That's God's will. Why can't he make an icicle burn? Well, who decides the way nature is? That's what Shemaim.
Periodic table.
Yeah, but the Abishah made us put out the table. The Abishah made that. That was not made by a human being. God decided the way these things work. I don't know why oil burns and why water doesn't burn and vinegar doesn't burn. That the Abishah decided. Why a cow's a cow? Why is a sheep a sheep? And why is a human being a human being? This is the way God decided. So God decided, God to decide that. That's why the Rambam says, one of the concepts we learned about Mashiach is that the lion will eat, stop eating animals. He'll start eating, he says it's an analogy. It's another transformation of nature. The transformation of nature. Really, that's what Chassidus says. That's what he says. It's an analogy because there's nothing wrong with nature. Right? There's really nothing wrong that a lion eats sheep. There's nothing wrong with a lion eating sheep. That's what's different to a lion eating sheep or eating hay. It's not what's wrong with that. Right? But to us, it's an analogy. Oh, eating sheep is an aggressive act. Like eating hay is not an aggressive act. Eating sheep is an aggressive act. And we're not going to be aggressive anymore. It's not an aggressive act for a lion to eat sheep. It's his nature to eat sheep. It's his nature to eat sheep. What's our nature? That's the question. What is our nature? What is the natural instinct of a human being? What's his nature? His nature is Shem Elokim. That's what you have to remember. His nature, just like the tree, his nature is Shem Elokim. That's his nature. The nature of a human being also is the name of God.
Because we're made in the image.
In the image of God. Everything's made in the image. Everything. The tree, the human being, the animal. Why? Because as he says, so Chassidus says, because Shem Elokim is only a natiku mogen, is only a shield and a sheep to the name of God. Really, it's an illusion. It's a sheet to the name of God. It's a gevura. It's thank God. In a way, thank God God made this cover so that we would have this illusion, so we'll be able to work on ourselves. We'll be able to do avodah. We'll be able to do the avodah. We'll be able to do service. We'll be able to be involved. We'll be able to be a partner in changing the world, in making the world what it is. Conceal the light of life for the flows from the name of Havaya, Yudke Vavke is Havaya, and brings creation into existence from naught. This being the purpose of Havaya, the name of itself means to bring into existence Havaya, to bring existence this light, and life was concealed by the name of Elohim.
So, what is the definition of Havaya? It's one of the names of Hashem?
It's a first name, Yud K Vav K. It's Havaya.
Oh, you're pronouncing it.
I'm trying to get different. I'm pronouncing it different.
Oh, okay.
So Havaya is to be. To be. Eya Esha Eya. I am who I am. I am who I am. The concept of being. What I am. I'm here. I am who I am. The Eibishter, everything. How do we know God? From everything. From everything. Everything here is God. That is a chair. That is a forehead. There's a roof here. That we're sitting in front of each other is all a godly concept. And why did the Eibishter do that? Why did God do this concept of that the Eibishter God didn't want that we would be nullified, our existence would be nullified. God would reveal godliness in an open way, and there would not be the concept of this contraction. There wouldn't be the concept of this hiddenness, this sheet, this cover. We wouldn't have existence. There wouldn't be existence. There wouldn't be our own identity. As I said before, now that there's a concept of this hiddenness, now each and every one of us has our general identity, and our singular identity. You are you, and I am I. You have your character, I have my character. You have your Meshigasin, I have my Meshigasin. Yeah. It makes us who we are. We should never want to take away our individual quality, our individual identity. It's important that we learn, but the problem is we become selfish. That's the negative. That's the negative of this tzimtzum. The negative of this tzimtzum brings about that we become selfish. We can take this contraction that God's not here. God forbid. That's the famous Rashi that we learned today in Chitas, where God asked Bilam, who are these people? That's a tzimtzum, right? God asked Bilam, who are these people? Right? Like God doesn't know who these people are. Like God has to ask them how's that possible? What kind of question is that? How can God ask a question like that? Right? So that's so from the regular you learn that pasuk. Anybody can say, wait a second, if God's asking the question, that means he doesn't know. If he knows, why is he asking questions? Like that's a stupid question. So if Vash says he doesn't know, meaning he doesn't know. Oh, that means that God, you almost take the Torah and say, look, God himself doesn't know. You always can use the Torah to say, look, and that's what Bilam did. Bilam decided, he said, well, God himself doesn't know. He has to ask me, who are these people? Right? Anybody's going to ask you who these people, it means because they don't know the people are. So chas v'shalom, you can take the Torah, and people do that. They take the Torah and they destroy the Torah by the Torah itself. Because look, God asked the question, who are these people? That means God doesn't know.
But the teacher asks a question to get you to think.
Right, okay. So that's what the Rashi said. The teacher asked the question here that to get you to think. But ultimately, Bilam thought it in a negative way. That's a danger of letting the student think. Because sometimes the student can think in the wrong way, and exactly what Bilam did. He thought in the wrong way. He thought God didn't know. He says, okay, good, Machayev. God doesn't know. And that's what people say in the same thing of nature. The Eibishter doesn't have control over nature. He created nature. But now that nature's there, it's there. It's his own balabas. God has lost control over nature, chas v'shalom. God forbid. Right? A person, God forbid, say, where is God? That expression you hear people say, where was God? Where was God? That's like if you understand Torah, it doesn't make sense. It's a question. Where was God? Where was God? He pushed out to come someplace. He had to be there. He had to make an appointment. These are dangerous questions that people ask. Why? Because it brings about the lack of faith. These kind of questions bring about lack of faith.
That's why he sent the donkey to tell them all.
No, but we all go through that. We all go through that. We the lack of faith. That expression. Where is God? What was God doing at that time?
Tough love.
What?
Tough love.
Yeah, no, you see pain that you see when people go through pain, you say, wow, you can have that expression. People have that expression. You can say, what does God want? That would be, where is God? What does God want with this situation?
What does he want us to learn?
What does he want to do with it?
Yeah.
Right.
What
are we supposed to do with it? But now, where is God? But sometimes you see certain situations that almost pushes you to that kind of expression. Especially those, after the Holocaust, people ask that question. The better question is, what is God doing? What is he doing? So that's the negative of Tzimtzum in general, the aspect of Tzimtzum that it gives us that capability to not only that we're not nullified, but we become our own Metzias. We almost Chashon could say, where is God? It was expression of the Jewish people when it came in the Bar Mitzvah a couple of weeks ago, where they said, is God in our midst or not? To say. So this expression is not an unusual expression. So that's why the trick that we have to do is called in Kabbalah, which I'll let you say right now, Skalas Hamidus. We need to learn how to mix the attributes. We need to know how to mix the issues, how to blend.
To create a new whole.
To blend Chesed and Gevurah. To blend severity and kindness. To be able to see kindness within severity and severity within kindness.
There's a word for that.
What's the word? Right. To be able to see the light at the end of the tunnel, so to say. To be able to see the silver lining. What do they call it? The silver lining? Right? To be able to see the Chesed and Gevurah. That the Eibishter didn't create these two entities to be exclusive. God created these entities to be united, to be one, to become one, because they are one. He created them from himself, which is one, and therefore these middays need to be one. And this is an important lesson. in general, when you have gevura, when you get angry, when a person gets angry, God forbid, right? Gets angry, he has to be able to bring some chesed in there, even though he's right to get angry. He has the right to be angry, to be frustrated. He needs to be able to bring the chesed within it. Because if not, it's going to be very, very bad. It'll be very destructive. He has to be able to bring chesed in it. And so too when it's chesed, he has to be able to bring a good in it, to it. There has to be a scalus. There's got to be. So just like in God, these midot are one, so too in a human being, these attributes are one. Right? That's why the truth is, the Eibishter brings two people together. One can be chesed, one can be gevura. Opposites attract. Right? Attract. Right? They're not to say you don't want to marry somebody who's exactly like you. That would be a terrible life. You marry somebody, it's the opposite of you. Opposites in a way. And you come together and you learn how to blend. You have to learn how to blend. Not each and every one of you go your own way. No, you learn how to blend these midas. Scholars are a very important thing. And Chassidus says it's not like you're doing something because that's the way it is to begin with. That's why we use the same word, you're bashet. It was bashet. What does that mean? When you say it was bashet, it means that it was very pure thing. Right? That we came together was bashet. It was bashet. This was like in Kabbalah, you say we were to begin with one soul. Like that, we divided and came back together. That means, in essence, our coming together was already there already. It happened already. We're not accomplishing something that is not already in the system. It's already in the system that when I get angry, when anyone else gets angry, we should be able to bring some chesed in it. Rachamim. We learned to Chassidus, rachamim, mercy. To mix it up. Not that you're not going to give away your gevura. Not that you're giving away your severity. You're bringing some lightness in it. You're using your severity in a way that the other person can learn from it. Not that you're just banging the other person out. It's a very important thing. It's very important. And the Eibishter understood that in the creation of the world. He created the world that way, that there'll be a scalus, there'll be the mixture, the blend of chesed and gevura. Yeah? You with me? Wow.
He talks about anger.
Yeah. Person born in anger. A person has anger issues. It might be that's the way he is. We all have anger issues. But you have to know how to deal with it. You have to know how to bring within your anger rachamim, mercy. There has to be a scholars. There has to be a mixture. It has to become into a blended situation. And then it's going to be a healthy situation. You're not going to, because when a person gets angry, there might be justified reasons that he gets angry. He might be right.
It has to be controlled.
Has to be controlled. Because if not, it gets worse. Your anger just creates a worse situation. Just gets worse. What do you gain out of it? That's what people sometimes realize. After that, they have to make a big apology because their anger just brought about a worse situation than before they got angry.
There's a quote. anger is like holding a burning coal, and the only one who gets burned is the person holding the coal.
That's right. Yeah, correct. Yeah, but we never learn. Why? Because again, to tell the person that he's wrong to get angry is not going to be the right answer. No, you tell the person you might be right, but there has to be chesed. If you want that your anger should be not hurt you and not hurt the person you're angry, you have to be a scholar samidis. Figure out how to blend your attributes. Figure out how to blend the chesed and gevurah, that it comes together. And the Eibishter did the same thing too. To create the world, he did a scholar samidis. He did the blending of these attributes. And through the blending of the attributes, you have a beautiful world. If people will be able to do the same thing in the world today, we have all the emotional things. Even in religion, it's all emotions. Everybody's emotional about their cause. There are both ways. And there needs to be a scholar. Everybody cannot be the same. There needs to be a scholar samidis. We need the blending of the emotions. And that's peace. As he's going to say, that's the concept of peace. That's the concept of where the Eibishter brought about in the world, in the creation of the world, peace between these two emotions, chesed and gevurah, between these two attributes. He made a skala samidis to be able to create a beautiful world that had these two powers, these two very important and very strong entities within the world. So that's what he says. The quality of this gevurah, you with me, guys? The quality of this gevurah in Tzimtzum is also an aspect of chesed, through which the world was built. This is the quality of gevurah which included in chesed. So that's really, so the gevurah is chesed. So you should get angry.
In the right way.
In the right way. Right? You should get angry. There's a time to get angry. If it motivates you to do good, to fix problems, get angry. That's the problem when people don't get angry, don't care. Everything's going fine, nobody gets angry, nobody cares. Nobody cares. People are dying, nobody cares. It's not good. So you need to get angry. And angry for a cause, for a positive cause. Right? Because you want the concept of chesed in the world, and the chesed is not happening for whatever reason. Get angry. Go do something about it. That's why the Rebbe, I put on Facebook a couple of days ago, do something. Just do something. Problem is, people get angry, they scream a lot. Scream, make trouble, create havoc. You know, nobody's doing anything, but we're just creating havoc. What came out of it? Nothing. Nothing. Everybody went to demonstrate and screamed and broke things. What came out of it? Nothing. So what are you doing? Because everybody's blowing off their steam. They're blowing off their emotions. Do something. That's a positive anger. The Siddur says an anger that gets you to do something. Okay, I'm going to do something. I'm going to do something. And that's a positive anger. That's gevurah and chesed, to go out and do an act. And from this mutual inclusion of the attributes, the opposite natures and understanding is evident that he is the causation of his attributes are one. So that's how you see the beauty of gevurah. I mean, the Eibishter created. You watch these. If you ever watch the animal world, today you don't have to go to the zoo. You can watch it on. I don't know what are they called. Certain I see it on YouTube. You know, you see the way the Eibishter created the animals. Everyone is distinct. Mm-hmm. You know, it's amazing. Mm-hmm. It's truly.
I was watching a caterpillar fall on my screen. Okay. their feet and the way it coordinates.
Mind-boggling.
It's amazing.
Mind-boggling. Mind-boggling. And they all know exactly what they're supposed to do. And they all know what they're there for. And they all know it's in their DNA.
The mode of survival.
It's unbelievable. The way the Abishah created every aspect in the world. And the way everything has its purpose. And even in the world, if you get rid of a certain animal, one of it's gonna affect the whole whole existence. They have to put everything in the right place and everything in the right situation so that the world would exist. That would be, if there wouldn't be birds, how many bugs would be in the world? You need to have that to eat as many as can be. They would destroy the world.
Yeah, we'd be walking on worms, whatever we do.
So it's unbelievable the Abishah created the world, that everything works. That's you see the way Abishah created the world in the Buddha. That's you see with the nature. Skala Samides. Abishah loved the world, created so many creatures, created them all to live, and ultimately to live and to create a world that can still be in existence. And that's where you see the greatness of God. That's where you see a scholar Samides, the way the world runs. We can look within nature. We can see the way the world runs so perfectly. That chesed and gevura, everything is in its place. And every animal, every creature, every tree, and every vegetation has a purpose. And without it, it starts to break down. I was listening to the news out of Shabbos. They said that in a certain place in Florida, the manatees are dying more than usual this year because the certain kind of a weed is not growing in a certain place, in a certain inlet. There's a certain kind of a weed that they eat that suddenly is not growing. It's like a certain kind of a thing that seaweed that they need to eat, and because of certain situations, it's not there anymore. And because of that, instead of 200 manatees that died last year, the holy rate this year 800 manatees that died. Not because of boats. Usually it's boats. This is because they're missing this weed. So here you have a weed. They was getting a weed for them to think to have, and now it's not there. They have no food. They got to figure out what's killing out the weed to be able to make sure that the weed. They just created everything so perfect, so perfect in the world, and that's what you see the scholars the way the Abishah created the mixture of kindness and severity. That everything has its place, and everything has its purpose, everything has its time. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Yeah.
When Hashem gave the first instruction to man was it before pre-create? No, after pre-create, I think. Whatever. He said you're just supposed to be like in charge of all the other created things.
Right. You're gonna you're gonna be in charge. You're gonna rule them. Before the flood, was gonna rule them. After the flood, was that you're going to
no, but the rules are, to procreate, to
the God got to
fill the earth.
got to the animals and multiply and set them out. Okay, my friends, I didn't realize it's 11:10 already. I want to wish you all a beautiful day. We'll see you next week. As I said, come to Chabad, come and learn together, face to face.
Yes.
Have a wonderful, beautiful day, everybody.
Moshe Einbein to telling everybody.
Moshe Einbein knows is telling everybody to come. Okay.
Fill up the room.
Have a good day, everybody.